folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Estancia Lapacho. Now you may remember yesterday I was just looking at the trees here, and I had the drone right up in the air getting the aerial view of the Christmas tree of Christmas trees, and I decided that I would just switch the engine off so that it would drop down to the earth really quickly. It actually dropped right through the map, which probably wasn't the best thing to happen, so I've had to reset that one. And so then I was on the ground, just beside these trees, and I noticed something. I'm just going to stop talking in just a sec, and then you can hear exactly what I noticed, and I didn't realize this came with the trees. They're singing! They are actually singing. All of the Christmas trees, they play a tune. I had no idea. I really had no idea. But you get a song. It's actually, I think, Oh Christmas Tree, isn't it? I think so. But yeah, I didn't know that. The Christmas tree sing. Absolutely brilliant. Another little detail of another awesome little mod that I had no idea about. But yes, if you drop this one from a great height, it does fall right through the map and lands with a splosh, because as with most maps, there is water underneath the map. And that's what happened with this one. So I had to reset it over here. Next problem. Well, actually, first of all, my weekly question. Let me just go and take a look at the guy doing the cultivating. Do you want this field here that we're cultivating right now to keep these nice straight edges that we carefully made for it last week all the way around it, or would you rather I go round with the plough and I make the edges a little more natural? Give the field a natural curve all the way round so that it uses up a little bit more space. It's your vote, it's your game. Head into the comment section down below, let us know which one you want and why, and of course don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right hand corner. Do you want a natural curved edge to this giant field, or would you rather just leave it square exactly as it is? Now, today I was going to be doing the mowing and the tedding and the raking and the baling of the little tiny bit of hay on the field that we've got just over there before we start actually turning it into concrete. The only issue with that is that the drill has run out of seed and it's almost run out of fertilizer. We've got no fertilizer back here and we don't have in our man truck. So we're just going to go and take a look at that one a second. Now, I can stick a little bit of seed in there, but I've got nothing else. I was thinking, because I did say that what I'd like to do this time in this series is I'd like to deal with pallets. Like we did way back in Goldcrest, but this time we're just going to have pallets, we're going to put them on the floor, and then we will lift them up, we'll load them into this one, into the seed tender, and we'll do it like that each time. Well, that's great and all, but that does require quite a bit of effort and time, and right now we don't have a lot of time. So what I was thinking is that we would drive over to the shop, we would get one pallet of fertilizer using this one, and we'll bring it back, we'll bring that one pallet back in this one, and we will just sort of spoon it in by hand. We'll just use a bucket and a shovel, and we will just shovel it straight into this one with that one single pallet, just so that we can get that one loaded up. I don't want to have to spend ages dealing with that, because I would like to get on and do this mowing. I want to get this bit here done so that we can start getting our yard finished. That is something we've been talking about this for ages now. You voted on it ages ago, and I still haven't got started. I've been saying I'm going to do it, and I keep getting sidetracked. So rather than get sidetracked yet again with another small job that would take up half the episode, we're not going to go and get a trailer load of fertilizer and seed pallets today. We'll do that another time. Probably we'll do that after we have built our sheds and everything, and then once that's all done, we can then come back and we can bring the fertilizer and the seed. We can put them in the sheds, we can put them under cover, they're not going to get damaged. That's probably, I think, the best approach to this. So we run in here, we can grab one single pallet of fertilizer, and then we'll race that back up to the field, get that seed drill loaded up, and then we can carry on doing our seed drilling. I'm still undecided about whether we go for the big cultivator or not, or whether we should just go for a different seed drill altogether, because the main reason being is that with this this one I think is just too big. It's 14 meters. It would be wonderful to be able to use that, but it would mean having to buy a big tractor. We don't have the horsepower to pull a machine like that. That one there yeah, that would be all right. I mean, it's it's only 3 meters. It's the same as the one we've got, but the tank is a lot bigger, so it would just be able to keep going, and it has a very low horsepower requirement. Plus, it's a direct drill as well, so a direct drill is always good. And then we've got this option here, which is a 4-meter one. That one you use in conjunction with that one right there. I think that one goes on the front and that one goes on the back or something like that. I think that's how they do it. But this one's not a direct drill, so really we'd want that one there. I'm still completely undecided on that, so give me some thoughts in the comment section. What would you like to see me do? Would you like me to do one? Would you like me to do the other? Would you like me to use the cultivator option and just do beans with our smaller seed drill? Do you want me to do it completely different? Do you want me to get just like one of the standard seed drills from the game, something like that? There's all different kinds of ways that we can do this. So I'd like a little bit of input from you guys. I want to hear what you think I should do in regards to seed drills for the future. I don't really want to go for a 400 or 500 horsepower tractor on this farm. I wanted to keep it down a notch from there. So, I mean, obviously, if that's what we need to do in order to make the game work properly, then that's what we'll do. Why is that one stopped? Why are you just parked up in the middle of the road? Okay, that's very weird. I'm not quite sure why it's done that. I don't think... Unless it's something to do with me. Have I done something? I don't think I did. But yeah, anyway. What are your views and opinions on the seed drills? I mean, personally, I didn't really want to go all the way up to the 400 and the 500 horsepower tractor range. So I sort of thought that the big direct drill was out. But I was ruling that one out because I didn't want to go that big and that powerful. If you think I should, then obviously let me know, and give us a reason. Why are we going that big on this farm? I mean, technically, the size of the farm that we've got here, we don't need anything that big. We can do it with the smaller tractors. It takes a little while, admittedly, so perhaps a small upgrade would be in order, but can we really justify spending nearly $500,000 on a tractor that we technically don't really need? Now, we don't really need a $500,000 tractor just for one seed drill. We wouldn't have anything else on the farm that we'd be able to pull with that tractor. We'd need that tractor in order to be able to pull, I should say. So we don't, as far as I can see, we don't have the justification for that seed drill. It's not required, and we cannot, at the moment, justify it with a need. There's no real need for it anywhere on the farm. I'm just looking for the button. That's the one that I want. I want to close that one up. So we'll move this one down here and move it out of the way. That's enough fertilizer to finish this field, and then we can go and get some more pallets of fertilizer on a trailer, and we can bring that up another time. But we can at least get this field here finished, which will be, I think, actually no, we got canola over there and we got canola over there still to do. But we'll at least get this one field here done. So let me just start that one up and carry him on. There we go. So yeah, 989 litres of... so 990 litres of fertilizer, and then I think it's 495 litres of seed or something like that. It's not very good, is it? You don't get very much seed, and the seed is the one that you go through far faster than fertilizer. It's a bit that I don't particularly like. I think it would be better if you had a bigger fertilizer, a bigger seed tank rather than fertilizer tank. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. We can get on with this bit. This is what we want to do. We've cleared everything out of the way last time, so today we can actually start mowing. At last. It's taken long enough, hasn't it? It's absolutely taken long enough. So let me unfold that one, and we'll unfold the back one as well. And then go back to the front one, and this one I can actually start up straight away. Lower it down, start it up. Technically, I suppose I've done it the other way around, but still, that's fine. Go to there, and then this one here, so start it up first and then lower it down is a way to do it. Like that. I don't think it's got any kind of swathing option or anything like that. Nope. So it's literally just as it is. So we want to make sure that we get all of the grass. So we want to go right out to the edges on this one. And I like the cut grass texture. It's nothing major. It's nothing like really phenomenal, but it's a nice, I don't know, there's something about that. It's a nice colour to it, and it's quite pleasing to the eye, I think. We'll just bring that one around. So we want to I do want to get fairly close to this but at the same time, you don't want to damage your mowers on the concrete. So let me just... Actually, I want to lower them back down again, and I want to go Control V. That should lift everything up. Nope. Maybe if I do Control V now. Control V should lift everything up. Oh, I'm wondering if I need to have it on the front one to do the Control V bit. There we go. Okay, the front one's still not lifting up. I'm doing Control V when I've got the front one selected. It's still not lifting it up. Which is a little bit peculiar. I don't know why it's doing that. Just back up there a little bit. The idea was I didn't want to smash the side of the mowers. So let me try Control V again. Okay, the Control V option is not working. Whether it's just for this mower or I'm doing it wrong, I'm not really sure. It might maybe even be this tractor or something. I don't really know. But it's not letting me Control V to lower everything down. That mower is lifting just a tiny bit up into the air on the edge, which means that it's missing the entire swath. And again, not a major loss, I don't think. The one reason that I don't like using mowers like this is because you can't turn the corners. You look when we're turning the corners, it's actually missing a load. Well, when you turn just a gentle corner like that, it doesn't miss a huge amount. But you see down there, it's definitely missed a load. So we want to come right over there, so it's missed this wide swath on it. And that's the one bit that I don't like. Right, I have to just press V twice in order to be Control V and then V as well, and then it does lift them up like that. But yeah, and if you have the mowers joined together and like using a reverse drive option, then because they're close together, they don't miss a piece when you turn the corner, and it works a lot better. So for that reason, I always prefer to use the mowers joined together rather than one on the front and two on the back like we have right here. I'm deliberately leaving the mowers on the ground. I don't think it really matters just for this bit. If you're doing silage or something like that, it doesn't actually matter if you leave the mowers on the ground. It doesn't matter if it gets cut twice. The reason that you lift the mowers up, normally at the end of the row, is because otherwise you're cutting the crop twice, and if you're doing something like hay, you've then got a load of short stalks, and that's not actually quite so good. It contributes to a little bit more loss in the crop, and when you come to baling it up, you're more likely to be losing little bits out the bottom. And plus you've got this short chopped up hay, which is not quite so good to handle in the winter. It can also lead to a little bit more dust and stuff like that. If you're doing silage and you don't need the rows just left as they are on the ground, it doesn't really make any difference. Sometimes it makes it a little bit easier, and sometimes the mower can grunt and cough a little bit when you choke it up like that, but generally speaking, it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference if you double cut. So for that reason, I'm not really worrying about it on this particular pass. I didn't mean to do that. I want to do that, and I want to lift this one up like that, and then I want to switch it off, and then I want to fold it up. That's it, we're done. After all that build up, all that time that it took to get the mowers and get everything ready, that was it. We had what, a minute maybe of mowing, and that was it. That was the entire mowing episode. So that's it now done. We can be on our merry. We will do more mowing. We're definitely going to be doing some more mowing at some point in the future. That's not all of the mowing that we're doing. I'm going to bring this one over here. I'm going to unhitch that one right there. So if I go to the front, lower it down there, that's it. And then I need to unhitch that one and unhitch that one. And then I want to turn around and I want to drop the mowers down there as well. Now, sometimes when you're using the manual attaching mod, it doesn't actually unhitch the mowers when they're like this. If you lower them down, they actually unfold. Or at least a lot of the other mowers do. They unfold as you lower them down. In order to get it to work on here, so I can undo that, you've got to unhitch them while they're up in the air, which is very unrealistic because it does drop them to the ground. Oh, it does work. But there, see, it dumps them on the ground. And that's one aspect of the butterfly mowers that I've always disliked in this game, is the fact that you have to unhitch them when they're up in the air. And it's just so unrealistic. It's not right just dumping them from a great height onto the ground. I've never really liked that bit. I'd like another option where you, I don't know, when they're folded up behind you like that, instead of pressing X to unfold like you would normally, you press Z to unfold the stand or something like that, because Z is very often an option that's used, but we don't have this unfold the stand option. And I think that would be really good, is if you unfold the stand and then you can lower it down and it'll just lower down onto the stand rather than lowering down and unfolding as it does so. That would be an option that I would very much like to see brought in the next version of the game. Anyway, let's go and get this hay turner, get it back to the yard, and then we can start turning our massive field of grass that we got there. Right, we get that one unfolded there, and then it's got that absolutely wonderful option where you can twist it inwards to direct the hay that you're turning into the field rather than just spreading it anywhere, and it is absolutely wonderful. It makes such a difference when you're actually working. So what you want to do is you lower it down like that so that it just goes onto those wheels, and then you can rotate the wheels like that, and so it pulls them inwards and that faces it in that direction like that. So then I can start it up and it will start throwing the crop into the field rather than just directly behind me and spreading out. The thing with the hay turner is that it spreads out the swath as well, so it directs you. If you're just going around with it going directly behind you, it will like spread it out, so it does throw it towards the hedge a little bit, and then when you go around the corners, as it's going right behind you, it's throwing it like directly behind you, which as you're going around the corner, is throwing it into the corner of the field, and that makes it even more difficult to get to and even more problematic. Whereas if you do it like this, it's doing it absolutely perfectly. We got no problems at all. It's throwing it into the field, and then it'll make it absolutely beautifully easy to collect when you go around with a rake. You don't have to try to scrape right into the corners in order to get all of the crop. It just works really well. So for that reason, I absolutely love this hay turner. So what we do now is we straighten the wheels up, and so we have it going directly behind you. You can have it going whichever way you want. The wheels will turn quite sharply to either side. We'll do that in a second. I'll show you what I mean. It's actually very, very cool. So we bring that one round there and just grab everything there, and so then you can put the wheels right over to one side over there, or you can stick them right over to that side over there, or you can have them dead center. It doesn't really make any difference where they are. Well, when you're going up and down the field, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. It does make some difference, because obviously if he's angled over sharply, you don't have quite the same width that you would if you got it trailing along directly behind you. So you're limited to the amount of crop that you can pick up if you've got it angled over. I personally can't think of any real reason to have it angled over. Possibly if you're doing like a second turn, and sometimes when you're doing turning, you've got a crop that is quite heavy. The grass itself is like quite heavy, and it's dried for a couple of days. Like especially here in the UK, it's been drying for a couple of days, so all of the thinner bits of the crop are already dry. And you go through with a turner, and when you're in a big field, you get back round to where you've done a couple of rotations, and so you get to a point, you go all the way around the field, and you come back to where you were. It's very difficult to actually tell the bit that you've just been round and you came through like 10 minutes ago turning, and the bit that is fresh, that hasn't been turned at all, because you're not actually turning it to dry the whole crop. You're turning it now in order to get the thick stalks just to dry out a little bit more. So there's very difference visually. You can't see a huge amount of difference. And then if you were to do it like this as you were going around the field, like that, you're leaving a distinct line all the way around the field. As you go round, there is a distinct line between what you've done and what you've yet to do, which would make it easier to sort of tell. However, you don't often have a situation like that. I have done that. I have had that situation where it's very difficult to tell what I've turned and what I haven't. But in all, I've helped do hay a lot. Year after year, I've helped do hay. Not very much in recent years, but I have done. And the big difference, the big thing is, I've only done that maybe 2 or 3 times. Like literally been really struggled to tell the difference between what I had already turned and what hadn't been done at all. It's like 2 or 3 times. So actually, most of the time, I can't think of any reason that you'd want to use a machine like this or have it angled while you're in the middle of the field. There doesn't seem to be any other particular advantage except for that outside round. That outside round, that bit is a whole different ballgame. That is just absolutely wonderful. It makes such a huge difference to everything, being able to use that on the outside round. But as for the rest of it, no, it wouldn't make a significant difference to me. Oh, there's one more thing that I nearly forgot. I need to go and put that hay turner back on. I was so caught up with my little tail that I... Ooh, okay, I did... yeah, I really didn't mean to do that. I was going to say I didn't do that, but I quite obviously did, because it just rammed the whole thing forwards. But we've had enough disasters with machines and fields of crops and everything that I think this time we can just overlook it. And just kind of imagine that it didn't really happen. We just go down through here. I need to find... Where did I leave it? Oh, it's over there. I need my load all, and I want to get my bucket on, because I just want to move that grass back a little tiny bit. And then, once I've done that, let me just lower that down a little bit more. There we go. We get that bucket. We're going to get the grass in front of the cows, and we're just going to move it out a little bit so that we can go over it with the hay turner and turn that bit into hay as well, so that we can get rid of it. And we can finally tidy up that mess in front of the cows, because that is irritating me as much as it is irritating some of you. Some of you have said several times now, can you please just clean it up, do something with it, because it is really starting to irritate. You've got this huge pile of grass that's just been sat there since day one. So yes, I absolutely agree, we definitely need to do something with this. So let me just come in here. I'm not sure how much we're going to be picking up. Well, actually, it's only going to be a couple loads. So rather than putting it just here somewhere on the track, I will take this grass and I will take it over to the field and I will dump it in there. The only thing is, yeah, we got the hay turner back on, so it doesn't really matter where we do it. It probably would have been better if I'd done this before I turned that into hay. Never mind, though. We can still do this. It's just that it won't allow you to tip where there's hay on the ground. It will literally block you from doing it wherever there's hay on the ground. And it will limit you to the height because of the hay on the ground. So we're going to need our hay turner, and that is going to help us be able to deal with this. This is not really... I should have done this before we turned the hay the first time round, and then it would have actually worked. I mean, it is kind of working, but yeah, you can see what I mean. It won't let you mix the two. I really hope that that's something that changes in the next iteration of the game, in that you can actually mix a couple of things on the ground. That would be really cool. I mean, I can't see it happening, not anytime soon, because obviously that's kind of... I figure that's a much more advanced gameplay mode if you're mixing two items together and then they become blended. I mean, I know that we got like forage at the moment, and that does kind of work, but at the same time, when you take it out of the vehicle, out of the forage wagon, it becomes separate entities once more, unless you've actually turned it into proper total mixed ration. If it's sort of blending the two together and it hasn't achieved the perfect blend, it does turn it into... When you tip it out again, it does tip out separate straw, silage and hay. So technically we don't have that in the game yet. I just think it would be very cool if we could have that added in. Just tip that bit there. Get most of it tipped on that one little bit there, can I? If I just back up a little bit, yeah, there we go, get the rest of it there. Our seed drill is empty once again, so I'm just going to pop up and get that one going once more. We can come back, we can turn that little tiny bit, and then we can get the rake on, and we can rake up the little bit that we got left. Right, we'll take this one out here, and we can just turn that last little bit there, and then we can get the rake onto the back of this tractor, spin round the field a couple of times, and rake it up, and then it'll be ready for baling. We're still not going to have time this week to actually get to doing this field. I'm wondering, though, if we should plough it up first. I did originally say that I was planning to plough the field before I put the concrete down over the top, just because I thought it would be better if you at least prepared the surface. It would sort of, to my mind, it would represent not, you know, you wouldn't actually plough the field if you were going to go and do something like this. You're going to lay concrete, but what you would do is you'd take an excavator and you would prepare the surface first. You would scrape back the topsoil, and you would have a prepared surface before you went and stuck down a whole load of concrete on the top, because otherwise the concrete would sag and crack in no time at all. So between now and next week, get into the comment section and let me know what you would like me to do with this. Do you think I should plough it first? Basically, I want the ploughing this time to represent going in with an excavator and removing the top layer off the field before we lay the concrete down. So as we can't actually do that, I figure that ploughing it would be the next best step. You know, it's still representing, we're still doing something to the field in order to get it ready for laying the concrete down, rather than just dumping concrete straight down on top of the grass. So what is your opinions and thoughts on that? Let me know in the comment section, and I will see if I can act on it next week. So we'll just go and get this rake here. We'll be doing the baling next week, I'm thinking. Although actually we may have time to get the baling done today. It depends how long this takes. So let me just hitch that one on there and then put the rake on. And the PTO one I meant. And then we can unfold this one. Now this shouldn't take very long. I'm thinking that what we'll do with this one is we will just go straight up and down, and then we'll do one pass around the edge at the end. So just bring it to about there, I think. So I don't, you know, it doesn't have to be a very spectacular width on the end. This one little patch up here is obviously going to produce rather a lot of crop. Maybe a little bit more crop than we really want it to, because the swath is going to be so big we're not going to be able to do anything with it. So that might cause us a couple of problems when we come back through the baler, but I think overall it's not going to be too much of an issue. Bring that one down there and start up again. Yeah, I don't think the baler is going to quite cope with all of that in that swath there. And you can see the gap in the middle where we were just sort of experimenting with the hay turner. And so you can see it'd be very, very easy to go around the field if you had something like that, so you could identify where you'd been previously on the last round on the field. But, you know, personally, I've not had more than just a handful of times where that would have been a benefit to me. Does any of you, I know that hay is done slightly differently in different parts of the world. In some places of the world you mow it and you'll turn it once and then you bale it up. Here in the UK we bale it like 3 times. We turn it 3 times before we have to, before it's ready for baling. You wouldn't have a hope of being able to bale it before then. It takes a good 2 or 3 days on the ground before it's ready for baling. The absolute best I've ever known is we cut it early one morning and it was ready for baling late the following evening. We turned it 3 times in that time. It was absolutely scorching hot weather. And even then, the grass it still had quite a lot of green in it. Now, and you can bale while the grass is still reasonably green. You don't want too much green in it because otherwise it can make the hay heat up too much. But you do want a little bit of green in it is still good because it actually makes into hay. It's not hay immediately on the ground. It makes hay once it's baled up. Once you bale it, you stick it into a stack. It still goes through the process of making hay. It's not actually fermenting. I don't really know what the process is, but yeah, I think it's just like an aging process, really. But it does actually become better quality hay as time goes on a little bit further. And you get that, it can sort of accentuate that if you have it while it's still a little bit green. So you've got a little bit of sap still in the grass. I think it's something to do with the sugar content and stuff like that. I don't know the technicalities behind it, but I do know that you don't always want to bale hay when you don't always want to get it completely bone dry before you bale. You do want to have some green in it as well. But yeah, I'm not actually sure of the full reasons behind it. There is a good reason. There is a good reason. It does make better quality hay for some reason. So yeah, you have that. But I know in different parts of the world, some places you'll mow it and then you'll bale it. That's it. You'll mow it. It'll stay on the ground for a little while and then you'll bale it. A lot of places in the world I know you mow it and then the following day you'll go along and you will just literally turn the swath over. You won't do anything else. You won't spread the swaths out and then rake them back up again like we do in the UK. You'll just turn the swath straight over. It's like flipping a pancake almost. And that's it. That's all you do. And then you go along and you bale it up. And to me, that's absolutely amazing. The fact that your weather is so dry that you're able to do that. I mean, I suspect you have different varieties of grass as well. and that also plays a part in it, but those varieties of grass are obviously for a drier climate than what we have here. Here in the UK, I heard somewhere that we've got one of the highest percentages of convertible cars. The UK has got some, and I don't know if it's the whole world or if it's the whole of Europe or what, but we've got one of the highest percentages of convertible cars in the, it is fairly high for the whole world. Per 1,000 people, there's more convertibles here in this country than there is in most other countries in the world. Not the most, but certainly one of. Which is very, very bizarre considering our climate. There is about 2 days of the year where you can actually drive a convertible car around with the top down because it rains. That's one thing that the UK is good for. We have lots and lots and lots of rain. And then when it's finished raining, it rains some more. And then you would tend to get a little bit of rain in between the showers as well. So you have literally like just a few days of the year where you could use a convertible car. And what I think this actually represents is not so much stupidity, which I suppose it might a little bit, that many convertible cars. I think it represents, on the behalf of the people of this country, a tremendous optimism. But the fact still remains that we get unbelievable levels of rain, and there is not a single farmer alive in this country who has not at some point had a load of rain on their hay. And I've spoken to farmers from other countries who have drier climates, and they've never, in 50 years of farming, they have never had rain on their hay, ever. And to me, that's like an absolute, it's just a complete miracle, right? It's a genuine miracle that it's even possible that a farmer of more than 5 years experience could have not had rain on his hay. It just absolutely staggers me because rain is just something that happens continuously all the time in this country. And you study the weather forecast when you're planning to do your haymaking here in the UK. You study the weather forecast. You study it, you study it, you study it. You make absolutely certain, and you look at the long-term weather predictions, and you think, right, this is the week. This is the one. It's saying it's going to be absolutely bright sunshine for the next 7 days. We've got time to get our hay down. We get everything. We can go like crazy for 2 days mowing. Get everything down on the deck. Get it all turning. We'll get extra help in. We'll really go for this. You go around. You get it all mowed. You get it all turned the first day, and then the weather forecast changes and rain comes in, and it absolutely hoofs it down all over your rain, all over your hay. And there's nothing you can do about it. There is literally nothing whatsoever you can do about it, apart from maybe race around and bale it all up as round bale silage or something like that. But yeah, your hay will get rained on, and it will always happen. Not every year, but eventually, if you're going to farm in the UK, your hay will get rained on. It's just something that happens, and there is nothing that you can do about it. Even the most experienced of farmers, even the most experienced of farmers will still get rain on their hay. It's just one of the facts of life of farming in the UK. So, yeah, I always think about this whenever I'm doing hay in Farming Simulator. It always makes me think about the different places in the world and the ones that have never experienced getting rain on their hay, because it's just not something that happens. You'll have like 6 months of no rain at all, and it's just kind of something that happens in your country. So near the beginning of this, you make a load of hay, and then that hay supplies your animals through the rest of the really dry period when the grass isn't growing so well. But getting rain on the hay and spoiling the quality of it because it's gotten wet is not something you've ever had to deal with, and it does make a difference. You wouldn't think that just a little bit of water going on to the hay is going to make that much of a difference. My grandfather, he had a field, and it was a huge, great big field, and he wasn't able to do it all in one go. I mean, he cut the field all in one go. I think he actually cut half of it one day, and he cut the next half of it the following day. But what he did was, he kept it all being turned, he kept it all being done like that, and then, just lift that one up. There we go. He baled half of the field. He rode it all up and he baled half of it. He was only able to get half of it baled in a day. That night, it rained. And so, obviously, you can't just go and bale it up because it's all soaking wet. You've got to dry it out. So he went and he turned it and he dried it out, and then it rained again. And it got rained on 4 times, right? This field got rained on 4 times. He got bales in from half the field, and I think he had something like 2,500 bales from half the field. And small bales, obviously, not big bales. And eventually, after this, the second half got rained on 4 times. He was eventually able to go and pick up the... he was able to get it dried and get it baled and get it under cover. Out of the second lot, he didn't even reach 1,000 bales, right? There was less than 1,000 bales out of the second half. The thickness of the crop was roughly the same all the way across, but he had less than 1,000 bales out of the second round. And the quality of the hay was absolutely appalling. It was terrible. It was really, really bad quality hay. It was dusty. It was unpalatable. The animals would pick through it and they wouldn't eat it all. They'd eat little bits of it, but they wouldn't eat very much. Whereas the good half, they go nuts for it. They would eat every single little tiny scrap that came off of that first half. The second half, they weren't particularly interested. He ended up using most of it just for bedding rather than for anything else. And so it does make a huge difference. So, I don't know about the rest of the world. Obviously, different places do different things. But certainly places where you do get rainfall like we do in the UK, it's going to be an issue. You never, ever want to get your hay rained on. As soon as it gets rained on, the quality starts to deteriorate big time. And that one little story just really emphasizes just how much of a difference it can make. And yes, he got it rained on 4 times before he eventually got it in. But that 4 showers of rain made such an impact on it that the cattle literally wouldn't eat the hay afterwards. And that, I think, just really does show you just how much of a difference that the whole thing makes. Bigger pallet. Square bales is one that I want. There we go. And start loading. We'll just grab these up here. My question for this week is, what do you want me to do with this field here? Do you want me to leave it with the square edges that we went and made last week? Or would you like me to go round with the plough once more and just give it a more natural curved edge on it? It's your vote. It's your game. Head into the comment section down below. Let us know which one you want and why. And of course, don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right-hand corner. So we'll just grab these up here now, and that means that in next week's episode, we will be ready to actually start work on this area here. We're going to get it covered with concrete. We're going to get some sheds built. But remember, I would like you to just head into the comment section today and let me know if you think I should plough it first. As obviously, we can't use an excavator in here. We can't get an excavator and go along and... what was I going to say? We can't use an excavator and like dig the surface off so that we can prepare a bed for the concrete. So I was going to do ploughing instead to kind of represent doing that. Obviously, as we can't do that, I figured that doing ploughing is kind of the next best thing. So it's kind of role playing, adding in the the stage of digging it all up. So yeah, I'd like some thoughts and opinions. Do you want me to do that or not? Right, I'm just going to unload... Actually, I'm going to leave these over here. I'm going to leave them loaded on the trailer. I'm just going to leave this one like this. But move it over a little bit further. We'll stop that one right there. And I'm going to unload those bales onto the trailer. Like that. And then we can come along and we can do something with those in our next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give me a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.